Okay. But you guys can hear me, right? Yeah. Okay. So as also mentioned, I'm a lawyer and not an artist, so I am absolutely unqualified to argue the difference between what is presumably legal, transformative art versus derivative art, which copyright law says is illegal. But I am eminently qualified to argue about thieves. So to that end, I'm going to throw out a hypothetical, as lawyers do, to the crowd, and it goes like this. So let's say you're a very passionate pacifist and do this lovely painting of anti-war painting that consists of a whole bunch of guns and a very pithy tagline, and you happen to post it on the internet and maybe have a gallery show. 3 months later, you see that you're saying the exact same painting with another pithy tag, logo on it, and it happens to be on the website of the National Rifle Association. And with that very painting, they managed to fundraise $3 million, of which, of course, you get nothing. And you basically hate the NRA. And anybody who belongs to the NRA, shut your ears here, please. This happens all the time. All the time, people do stuff and are appropriated by other people who are really antithetical to the original vision of their art. And if you're Bruce Springsteen, you can afford to sue John McCain for using "Born in the USA." If you're the Associated Press, you can afford to sue Shepard Fairey for using Obama's photograph. If you're mostly a View, and you want to sue the bastards, there's not much you can do unless your rich uncle has left you about $100,000 for litigation. Because even there's no copyright lawyer, including me, who's a fairly politically progressive copyright lawyer, I'm not going to tangle with the NRA for free. And the $100,000 that you're doing, I'm probably going to use for a bodyguard, and not legal. So you're basically just screwed. There's nothing you can do, and I imagine you'd feel pretty bad about that. Well, of course. But here's another. You forget about the NRA for a second. What happens if you see your lovely painting in, LA Magazine? Same everything, all the same. Same painting, same pithy logo, same tagline, and it's in LA Magazine. But somebody else is credited as the author, as the artist. What happens if it's in Artillery Magazine and somebody is credited? Well, what could you do then? And the answer is not much. You could write a letter to the editor. And that's about it. Because suing Artillery, you're not going to get a whole lot of money out of this one. Sorry. So it kind of floors me that artists are out there doing wonderful things and take the position that art should be free, that anybody should be able to use it to create new and improved art. And with all due respect to my opponent, Alex, and I'm sure you're not in this group, but from my point of view, most of what I call free-use artists have either never been the victims of art misappropriation, or they have never lost their income stream, their royalty stream, because they've never really made money off of art. As far as I can tell, the free-use artists, to me, are kind of the equivalent of these sort of desperate people who live in Appalachia who vote Republican to cut spending and also cut taxes for the rich. And I just kind of don't get it, except that I don't hold it against either group, because in my view, they're kind of both products of big business brainwashing. And what I mean by that is, who are the advocates for, free use? Well, I guess I'll take it up on your side.
That is a perfect spot for me to jump in here. SOPA, PIPA, we've seen this manifest many times. Hollywood has been freaked out about recording devices and what have you when it comes to music since 1992. And the Audio Home Recording Act, which had a safe harbor provision which allowed you to have mixtapes. You see, mixtapes are already happening. Don't you have fond memories of mixtapes? Our government, very reasonably, included this safe harbor provision for what would be considered fair sharing of music. I'm going to make a mixtape, I'm going to give it to my friend, and believe me, That freaked Hollywood, big Hollywood, and the big music industry, that freaked the hell of them out. They don't want any sharing. They don't want any legal distinction between what is, they don't want to have to make a distinction between what is legal sharing and what is illegal sharing. They want it all gone. Now, the internet is their worst nightmare, okay? Believe me. In 1988, they started out with the DMCA, which is called the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. That passed, but it's basically lost every single case that had been brought up against it. Then there was COICA, which was the Combating Online Infringement and Counterfeit Act, didn't even pass. Then it's SOPA, didn't pass. PIPA, didn't pass. Okay? The next one you have to look out for is IPAA, which is called Intellectual Property Attaché Act. But the ultimate destination that they want, I believe, is a complete restructuring of the very nature of the internet to protect their copyright. They want infinite copyright, indefinite copyright forever. They never want anything to enter public domain ever again. And so it really bothers me when I see big corporations like, the thing about SOPA that's weird, you're saying, oh, some of these corporations, they brainwashed us. Facebook brainwashed us, and YouTube and Google brainwashed y'all. Because they didn't want SOPA and PIPA, and big Hollywood, big music did. But the reason is, I've got some dry mouth. Is there some water? Sorry guys, I'm nervous. But the reason is, see, how can Facebook, YouTube, Google not support SOPA, but support CISPA, which is even worse, okay? And that's going to be signed. President Obama said he's going to veto it. He said he was going to veto NDAA, and he didn't, okay? That was a major power grab by our government. So now he says, I'm going to veto CISPA, but what's his track record? I'm too nervous to read that. My hands are shaking. So, okay, hold on. Facebook, YouTube, Google, they fought against SOPA because they didn't want to deal with all the lawsuits. But Facebook, YouTube, Google, big Hollywood, big music, they all want the same thing. And CISPA, which is the Cyber Intelligence Sharing and Protection Act, is their dream. You know, the government, it is constructing around you the perfect surveillance and control system around the free internet. They hate the internet. They want to change the way the internet is routed, okay? With SOPA, the language in SOPA was so vague that you could, if a content producer like Fox, let's say, they might be able to send a letter of petition to the government to shut down, take you off the DNS system, and block your website if they just don't like the content of a blog post you put. You included some Fox News footage in it or a link. So, was that 4 minutes? All right.
You want to finish your talk?
No.
Alex, you know more about the law, about legislation than I do by far.
Well,
but I'm glad you brought up Facebook, Google, and YouTube, because why are they arguing for free content? Well, listen, I mean, what would YouTube be without 92% of its stuff being pirated? I mean, there's only so much video if you can stand of people's kitties and their babies. Okay, what would Apple be? What would the iPod be without iTunes? What would eBay be without knockoff goods? And what would Pirate Bay and Mega Uploads and all of the P2P illegal download sites be without, again, Google supplying ads via AdSense? The point is that those guys they absolutely have to have free and cheap content to survive. And when they say freedom to innovate, it is freedom to exploit. It is big business, from banks to timber to text. Always saying, oh, we need freedom to do this. We need freedom to use other people's stuff because it's progress, it's economic growth. But every big business has ever existed in the last 200 years has used progress and economic growth to hide their dirty deeds. People, it's not about the economy, it's about shareholders. It's about the good of shareholders, period, end of story.
Oh boy. think that handing over control to, basically control of the internet to the government on behalf of a bunch of corporate control freaks is troubling to me. I would rather we exist in a kind of a Wild West state still for a while, which the internet has been. I mean, I don't know, we have a legal system to deal with this. You're a damn lawyer. I think you'd like it. Your intro said you're not getting work, so let's start litigating and dealing with this with the legal system instead of handing more control to our government. You know, I mean, thank you. You know, and finally, this whole idea that the corporations are people, that you know, persons are going to be harmed, and then persons are corporations. I believe even that entire issue needs to be absolutely rethought. Corporations do not have the same rights as a human being, period. Okay? Now, David Souter, in Citizens United, David Souter, in his dissent, he said, legal entities, i.e. corporations, are not we the people for whom the Constitution was established. And I absolutely believe that. You know, corporations being people, money being speech, it is setting up a system of fascism. Okay?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but isn't Richard Prince a person? I'm sorry.
Well, no, but this is about reproduction, reproducing, copying, linking, sharing. I mean, we'll talk about the Richard Prince thing about this when we have drinks afterwards, okay? Because I have other things about that. But people, okay, that's my 2 minutes. So much.
I'm sorry, but we just can't. It's going to get out of control. Alright, you have 1 minute.
Well, I just want to say I agree with that. I think Citizens United sucks, and I do not think corporations are people. That is between the tech corporations, Google, Facebook, what have you, and the record and movie business and print business. Guess who's making a shitload of money with $26 billion IPOs? And guess who's losing their asses? Record businesses at the beginning of last year, revenue loss 64%. Movie business, study done in 2007 by economists, not traders. 3 out of $10 billion of revenue lost. And it's going to get worse with band. You've got entire industries being wiped out. Borders, Blockbuster, Virgin Megastore, even Netflix probably going to get worse. Point is, and here's my closing, got a clear choice here. You either value creativity and you pay for it, or you view art as belonging to everybody, so you theoretically improve upon it, and you don't pay. But, I will leave you with this thought. With respect to the quality of every other product or service on the planet, people, you get what you pay for. Think Gaga, think reality TV. That's good.
All right, well then let's have a 1 minute closer. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I basically just believe that things like DMCA, SOPA, PIPA, IPA, CIS, PCA, whatever, okay? It's all about control of the internet. Now, there's a concept of a blowback, okay? You do one thing, but then you get an unexpected result from it, okay? So you got big money, big speech, Hollywood and music, who are a bunch of dinosaurs and don't want to evolve with the times. For God's sake, Jack Valenti in 1982 was arguing, calling the VCR, equivocating it to the Boston Strangler. Yeah. And Hollywood was a lone woman in her apartment who's going to get killed because the VCR is going to destroy Hollywood. Okay? So we've been hearing this in 82, 92, 98, and all I'm seeing is just it's a power grab to me. It has nothing, you know. It's a power grab in the guise of, oh, we got to save Hollywood, you know. But the blowback is going to be, you're going to create an apparatus for your government to control you. There's very little due process in a bill like SOPA. I don't believe any of the other bills are going to be any more effectively dealing with this due process problem. You know, corporations being able to just submit a letter to the government saying, I don't like what's going on, I'm raiding my copyright. And then they shut it down, you know, ask questions later. It's insanity. So look out for it, guys. CISPA's next. Thank you.
it's tired, it's old. Facebook, $26 billion IPO, record business losing 64% of their revenue. I mean, come on, there hasn't been all this fabulous revenue. I invite you, I implore you to come up with just one idea how the record business is ever going to recoup all that money. Just one.
Evolve. Evolve with it. Deal with it. Evolve and deal with it. Learn to deal with it. You know, if Jack LaLanty didn't got his way, and didn't get a VCR in your home, think of they would have lost out on a lot of video rental inventory or money that they never foresaw. You see, they don't foresee. The old dinosaurs running these companies do not have the agile nimbleness of thinking that needs to be, you know, utilized to effectively monetize the internet. So deal with it. Evolve and deal with it.
We'll already have Richard Prince later. But anyway, let's go this debate. Andy? He has some art that he is passing away as a performance piece.
And if you don't take a piece, he's going to burn the rest of them. So save his art.
No, it's illegal, so just take it. He will burn it.